Am I the a-hole for no longer reaching out to my half-sisters after years of being treated like the black sheep? I, 27F, come from a pretty dysfunctional and fractured family. I'm the youngest of three girls, and while we share a mom, 64F, I have a different father, 74M, than my two older sisters. Let's call them F, 34F, and B, 32F. That difference has defined nearly every dynamic in our relationship, and not in a good way. My mom had F and B with her first husband shortly after she graduated college. She had a real passion for dance, something my grandmother had always forbidden her from pursuing, so as soon as she could, she ran off to college, graduated early, and tried to chase her dream while also working as an engineer. She was ambitious, determined, and talented. But her first husband didn't support her. He told her she needed to give up dancing, and when the marriage fell apart, he used her demanding travel job against her during the custody battle. My mom only got partial custody, and her ex twisted that into control, emotionally manipulating the girls and undermining my mom constantly. Then, after the divorce, my mom met my dad, a recovering alcoholic, reintroduced to life and love by a mutual friend. She found out she was pregnant with me and told my dad she'd be keeping me either way. To his credit, he stepped up immediately. They got married right before I was born, and from day one, he's been in my life. But that choice, her choosing a new life, a new husband, and having me, wasn't accepted by everyone. My mom's side of the family never really liked my dad. They barely tolerated me. Some of them, like my uncle, went out of their way to exclude me. He actually told his kids to ignore me, to pretend I didn't exist, like I was a ghost. When we were all adults, my cousins confirmed that yes, this was intentional. They had been told I didn't count. In my early years, my sisters and I got along decently well, at least on the surface. But once they reached high school, that changed dramatically. They stopped visiting. They didn't include me in anything. We became strangers under the same roof. Then one night, everything just shattered. Bea had been out partying during a college break, and my parents had to pick her up late at night. When we got home, and my parents went to bed, she turned to me, calm, cold, no hesitation, and said, "You know I've always hated you. You stole my mom away." I was stunned. I didn't even know how to respond. I just stood there, feeling like the air had been knocked out of me. And then she went to bed like it was nothing. The next morning, she was gone. I never told my mom. I never brought it up again. But from that moment on, something in me changed. I had always felt different, but now I knew I wasn't just imagining it. I was the outsider, the mistake, the unwanted piece of a broken puzzle. Then came my oldest sister F's wedding during my sophomore year of high school. I hoped it might be a chance to reconnect, maybe even feel like part of the family again. Nope. She asked her sister B to be in the bridal party, of course. She also included her two other half-siblings from her dad's second marriage. Kids younger than me. But me? I was asked to do a reading during the ceremony. A reading? At a wedding full of people I barely knew. With my lifelong fear of public speaking, I sat alone in an empty row at the ceremony. Isolated while waiting to get up and stumble through a passage I was terrified of reading. I tried so hard to pretend I wasn't hurt. I smiled. I clapped. I told myself not to ruin her day. Later, after the honeymoon, my mom told my sister that I seemed hurt. F reached out and asked me why I hadn't said anything. I told her the truth. It was her wedding. Her choice. We're not that close. I understood. And I did. But that didn't mean it didn't hurt. Since then, F moved to another state, got married, and had two kids. We text on birthdays. That's about it. B occasionally reaches out, usually when she wants something from my dad or even my partner, 36M, who she barely acknowledges otherwise. Over the years, I stopped reaching out. Not out of anger. Not out of spite. I just stopped trying. Why should I continue chasing people who never made me feel wanted? Who never reached out to me unless they had to? Now here's where the tension is building. My dad, who, for all his flaws, has always been there for me, has started pressuring me. He says that when he and my mom are gone, my sisters will be all I have left. That family is forever, and I should be the one to keep the bridge from collapsing completely. He wants me to make the first move, to text, to call, to be the bigger person. But the truth is, I'm tired of always being the one who tries. I didn't pick this fractured family dynamic. I didn't choose to be born to a different dad. I didn't ask for the resentment, the jealousy, the bitterness. I've lived my entire life on the sidelines of their sisterhood, always second tier, always a reader, never a bridesmaid. So now I keep my distance. I've accepted that we're not close, that maybe we never will be, and maybe that's okay. But am I the a hole for not reaching out to my sisters anymore?